Good morning. Welcome to Fibertown, everybody. My name is Emily, and I'm Chain of Fools on Ravelry and Fibertown on Instagram. And Alice is down here as well today. I'm not in my usual spot, as you can see. There is a gigantic puzzle on my kitchen table, so I didn't want to disturb it. So I am over here today, and people are outside in the snow, so I'm gonna... Yes, we've had 2 snow days in a row, so essentially a 5-day weekend for my kids because Monday was Martin Luther King Day in the States. And yeah, and I have a cookie on top of the computer, so I have had to lure her from the heating vent today to sit with me. Anyway, it's been a while since Alice has seen you guys, so I say hello. It is episode 50. Is it 50? Let me look at my show notes. Yes, indeed, it is episode 50. I have been podcasting for almost a year with just a week or 2 of a break, and it's been pretty awesome. Yes, I'm going to give you your cookie now. Come here. Sit down. Shake. Shake. That's a nice girl. Okay. So Alice has been playing in the snow, but she prefers a wet snow. And this snow we have today is a dry one. So she goes out and runs around like a nut and then runs back in. Did I say it was the 22nd of January? Probably not. It is episode 50. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Let's see. Do I have an FO? I do have an FO this week. I've got some administrative stuff to talk about. I have a show and tell. I have whips, which are pretty much the same. And I have spinning, and then I have up and coming and miscellaneous. So let's get started, let me tell you what I'm wearing first. This is my color affection, which I got a lot of flack in my knitting group for knitting a color affection out of grays. So this is my color affection by Vera Valimaki. It is out of hand spun, 3 different breeds I used. And this project is what caused me to fall in love with woolen spinning, and specifically this first yarn, which is Finn sheep. It was a lamb's wool as well. It's so nice. So I have 2 plies of each of these yarns. So we have Finn. This gray is Jacob, which was... It wasn't the Meadowcell Jacob. It was a different one. I think I got it at Maryland Sheep and Wool. And then the cream color down here was a Romney. So I have Finn, Jacob, and Romney all in one shawl, and I love this. I actually slept in it last night because my bedroom's very cold, and it's fluffy and lovely, and although it is a color affection, it is not colorful, but that suits me just fine. And Alice is going to knock over the camera because she wants this last cookie. You come get it up there. There we go. So anyway, administrative stuff. The Virginia Beach Yarn Getaway. If you haven't taken a look, go ahead and take a look. It's in the show notes from episode 49, so it looks like a lot of fun. The second thing is Maya and her ASPCA bike ride. She's Selket. The information will be in this episode's show notes as well as episode 49. She is doing a fundraiser with her sister. They're trying to raise $1,500 to donate to the ASPCA, and they're doing it in New York. And thank you so much to folks who've already donated. Thank you. You are going to be entered for every $5 that you donate into a chance to win an Etsy gift card. The value of that will be $25. So excellent. So that is underway. I believe she needs to have the funds by early April. So you'll be hearing about it in the next few months. Okay, and thank you to the Mustache Girls for giving a shout out to that fundraiser as well on their podcast. That was excellent. And let's see. Speaking of donations, I received an incredibly generous one. The person who did the donation didn't say specifically whether or not I could mention them, so thank you very much. It is not expected, but it is always welcome. As you probably know from the folks, other podcasters are going through hosting woes with Blip and iTunes. Podcasting ain't free anymore in general, so that's okay, because for me, I love doing this and I get a lot out of it. And, but yeah, occasionally it's nice to have a little influx of funds to help with shipping and hosting fees and so forth. So, okay. Podiversary. Yes, indeed. Alice, it's all gone. Podiversary. I have been loving the thread in the group. I'm getting tips. I was like, teach me, inspire me, make me laugh. Awesome stuff in there in all three categories. And some people are giving me something from each category. As long as it's in one post, that's absolutely fine. So, oh my gosh, I love that that thread, and I think I'll keep it open even after the Podiversary prize. So, look here, all gone. Do we have dust on the computer? Do we have dust from your liver treats? All right, so let me show you what is up for grabs in the Podiversary prize thread. You've seen one thing already. There will be two prizes. And this is from Knitting Geisha, an adorable project bag. Does it smell nice? Does she have dogs and cats? Maybe. And then the second, pardon me as I go out of frame, and let me just say from last week, I apologize for the shaking of the camera. I was just a little more active than usual. Putting my elbows on the table caused everything to shake. So the second thing that is being given away on that Podiversary prize thread is a trio of yarns. And don't get too excited, they're not huge, but they are all hand spun. And they are all Primo from Primo Dyers. So the very first one I'm going to show you is these. This is what's left from when I made the Milo out of Sanguine Griffin. No, wait. Yeah, it was still the Sanguine Griffin at the time I bought this. This is a merino cashmere silk blend in the Joyeuse colorway. It's grays and yellows. There we go. That's a nice picture of it. So I don't know about yardage, but if you're into hexie puffs, or if you want to combine all three of these and make a hat, it's possible. So this was a 2-ply. The next one I have is a Navajo, wait, is that a Navajo ply? I think it might be. This is Pigeon Roof Studios. This was a Polworth. How beautiful is that? I do believe that was a Navajo ply. These were left over from my hand-spun sock project that I did. Beautiful, amazing colors. This was the Verdigris colorway. I need more Pigeon Roof in my life. And the third is, I think these two are fingering weights. The third is a little bit heavier weight, and this is from Into the World. This is another Navajo ply. This is the Gwydir colorway. This is definitely poofier and thicker. There we go. This was a Polworth, I think it's a Polworth silk. Trio of hand-spun yarns, small skeins, as a second prize for the Podiversary giveaway. So I will be drawing for that next week. Random number generator and all that. Okay, we are on to, oh, I need to say hi to somebody. Let's see, Heidi, who is Nuts for Needles. She's from Canada. Thanks for joining the group and introducing yourself in the welcome thread. All right, down to business. FOs, show and tell. I made a snuggle this week. I crocheted a snuggle this week. The ends are still not woven in, but I do have the ball band for your viewing pleasure. This was, oh my, 8 skeins. Well, I had 6 skeins of the Oh My and 2 skeins of some random similarly colored super fuzzy stuff. And I made a half double crochet snuggle holding them quadruple. It's a smallish one, but it's super squishy. And I ran out towards the end, so it's a little bit thinner on this side, but it'll still feel squishy, and the little animal that gets it will love it. Yeah, Alice is already starting to call dibs on it, but no. It's for somebody else who doesn't have a family and a heating vent to lay on. So there's my snuggle. I have a sewn and a crocheted, now I just need a knit. and I'll be able to enter the triumvirate for the triumvirate prize and CD of Yarnivores snuggle thread. Okay, that's it for show and tell, my works in progress. Now, a very astute viewer, I cannot remember what her name was, but she gave me a tip to fix my dropped stitch in my Patton's Croy sock, singing the blues on US 1.5s, 2.5 millimeters. I discovered my drop stitch. It was way down here, and when I tried to ladder it up, it looked like a slip stitch. There was just not room for that stitch in the fabric. So she said, drop down the stitch next to it to the level of the drop stitch and knit those two together and then ladder it up back as one. It's perfect. Thank you, whoever you were. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. The better I can knit a sock, if I don't have to tack anything down, I think the longer it'll last. And I do have some sock woes to talk about later. So yeah, this is just not getting a lot of love. It should have been finished ages ago, but it's my purse knitting and I have not been getting out much. In fact, I have some things to mail, and with the holiday and the snow, just hasn't happened yet. So, sock needs to be finished. So that is work in progress. That is work in progress number 1. My second is the Albers Cowl by Ann Weaver. This is all out of my Gourmet Stash hand spun poonies. Square number 1. Let's see, Chocolate Chianti, Bicyclette Jaune, and Plain Jane. Square number 2. It's finished. We have Poonies in Space, Plain Jane, and Fiber Town, my eponymous colorway. Now, they smell good. They just smell so good. You can see them together. I am doing 3 colors instead of 4. And there are 2 types of squares you can knit in this pattern, and they are shaped differently. As far as the log cabining goes, I realized that I've only knit square A, no square Bs. Oh well. It dawned on me when I was on square 3 that that's how I had done things, and there was kind of no going back. So this is square 3, Spearmint. Okay, and then I have some sparkly ones. Can you see the sparkle? This is Don't Wake the Dragon, and this one is Sweet Sister. Sweet Sister! So 2 Game of Thrones references side by side. Look how beautiful they are. They're purples. The Don't Wake the Dragon has some blacks and darker purples. They're both sparkly, and there's something about the Sweet Sister one that I adore. And that, let me tell you the blend of that one. It is Alpaca, Polworth, Silk, Merino, and Angelina. I just love knitting on this one. So, Gourmet Stash for the win. I have 2 more, I have 3 sides to finish. I'm on the second one. And then I will be seaming these all together. And I think it'll be pretty spectacular, even if it's not exactly to pattern in a couple ways. Yeah, square A lends itself more to my smaller yardage anyway, so it'll all be around my neck, draped loveliness. Man, I got a lot of ends to weave in, so you get an idea. I should be able to show you this finished next week. This is what I have for leftovers, and these are going to become a hat. Leftovers, leftovers, leftovers. The one skein I haven't cracked into at all is Sakura. This was a spindle spun on my Tibetan. It is a 3-ply. It's so thin. I don't think it would look good with these other yarns anyway. It's just much thinner than all of them. So hopefully that will get some use in the hat. Maybe doubled. We'll see. My last work in progress is the Follow Your Arrow Cal by Isolde Teague. And I can't count. I don't want a frog. So I've had some issues, and this is in the middle of a row because I'm doing short rows. So for the first clue, I did clue 1B, and that went up until this lace detail, and somehow I ended up 13 stitches short. And I didn't notice that. I thought everything was fine. I didn't notice that I was short stitches until I started clue 2, when I was like, I guess I could count my stitches now. So what I did, I added 2 more garter rows. At first I did look at clue 2 to see which version would lend itself better to me correcting the problem. Clue A of clue 2, because you can for each clue that comes out you get 2 choices. So there's such a multitude of different shawls you could knit with this pattern. I think she says there are 32 different possibilities, because you can stripe or not stripe, you can just mix and match the clues. I think, and some people are even knitting more than one version. And there's some really cool. If you haven't seen the spoilers, go to the Follow Your Arrow group, and there are spoiler threads for each type. So I highly recommend you go and look. At any rate, one of the clues for clue 2 was a very lacy pattern that followed this, which I call a sunflower, the sunflower pattern. And I was afraid that things wouldn't line up very well because I was off by those stitches. You know, it was a lot of stitches. And what I ended up doing was 2 garter rows, and on one of the garter rows I increased with knit fronts and backs, which are hidden very well in garter stitch. And let's hope for the best, because I don't want a frog, and I'll probably regret it. We'll see, because the next bit is short rows, and the only issue that I can see so far is that there are short rows, but there are 2 spots in the pattern where you have these, and I should have said, spoiler, if you're knitting this, go away if you don't want to be spoiled. There, I said it. See that? Those yarn overs should be centered over this sunflower petal, as well as over here. So I am bummed. There we go. And those are not centered either. Those are even more off center from there. So I just put this away last night. I need to think on it. What am I going to do? Is that going to bother me a lot? I have no idea, because I don't know what the rest of the clue is like, other than there are some short rows. There's a short row section here with a little stripe of the sassafras. The brown is the sassafras from Hazelnut's Artisan Sock, and the pink is Cherry Fizz from Hazelnut's in the Entice base, which is an MCN. It's a lot of fun though. I'll probably just push through and not worry about things not lining up perfectly. That's just how I roll. So that's a lot of fun. If you're not doing that pattern, I would recommend it highly. She's got an amazing brain that she has put all these possibilities together and trusts that they're going to work no matter what combination you go for. All right, spinning. I have no more progress on what is on my Tibetan spindle, which is Gourmet Stash, No One from her Game of Thrones, more Game of Thrones. But I did finish, where did I put it? Yes, I did finish the other Gourmet Stash on my wheel, and this was a color combo of a superwash merino dyed in this amazing blue, and that was from Neighborhood Fiber Company, and a neutral, which I believe was a wool yak silk. So, oh, this smells good too. So this was cable plied. So a cable ply is a 4-ply, at least in this version. You can do more plies than 4. In this version, I did 2 2-plies, and then I plied the 2 2-plies together in the opposite direction. And this was a first for me, and the instructions in the book, Sarah Anderson's Spinner's Book of Yarn Designs, simply say, ply the two plies together until they pop into a cable. So the instructions are kind of vague, and I didn't have the help of anyone who had done it before. So I'm sure that there are parts that are correct and there are parts that are not so cable plied. This is what I think, this is a part that I think is well cable plied. And I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show you. See that? Hi, it's me. I'm back again. My camera decided to freeze, and I don't know why, and I hope it doesn't make a habit of doing that, but here I am again. It's a couple hours later, and I've just looked at the video I took and noticed that the last 10 minutes were missing, so here I am again. I was showing you, oh dear, sunshine. I was showing you my cable plied gourmet stash yarn, and I think it's going to be super interesting to knit up. Still pretty darn energized, even though I gave it a hot water bath. Where can I show you? Look at this. See that? I need to reskein it and see if that helps. But I'm kind of excited about knitting this up. I got 222 yards. So don't know what it'll be. It'll go in the handspun stash. Okay, so that is it for spinning. I have no weaving this week. What's left? I have up and coming and miscellaneous. So okay, this is going to be an FO very soon. This is the pillow that my friend and I made for my neighbor who is fighting cancer right now. And my friend Leanne just finished her 4 squares. So we have 8 squares now to be made into a pillow. We have some Tess yarn, Superwash Merino. We've got Madeline Tosh Vintage and Flash Dance. Ooh, that one's got a heart. You see the heart? We have some handspun hobbledehoy. Lovely. We have some manos. These are all purples. And now my friend Leanne's, she did another heart in this sort of marled yarn. See the heart? She did some brown sheep, small hearts, some lovely tweed, which has some sort of star motif. Where is it? Okay, here it is. I don't know if you can see the star that well. And a purple ribbon yarn, plaid looking. That one's cool. They're all cool, so I will be sewing them together and I'll show you the finished pillow before I give it away. As a gift, I hope she likes it. I hope it brings her some comfort. Other up and coming, I have a baby shower for a dear friend of mine in February. So I am going to cast on a Milo, which I love making. And I think I'm going to use Hazelnut's Artisan Sock again in the Coveralls colorway. It's a really gorgeous denim-y blue, and I think it'll make a really lovely Milo. My other choice was this. I think that I'll hold this together, I'll hold this yarn double for a worsted. It calls for a DK, but I'll just make a smaller size with a heavier yarn, and the baby will be able to wear it at some point. I think I've been wanting to try fingering weight held double for a while. Everyone says how squishy and nice the finished object is. The other option is some twisted fiber art. And this is their Karma base. It's a DK, which is what the pattern calls for. And I won this skein of yarn. This is kind of special. I won it on the Knit Girls years ago. It's the very first thing I ever won on a podcast. And I've been on kind of a lucky streak lately. I won 2 bags. Oh my gosh. So I'll have those soon to show you all. All right. Let's see. I really want to cast on a sweater for myself. As soon as that Alber's cowl comes off the needles, I think I'll be casting on a handspun sweater. Alrighty. I have a tip for you all. It involves a Kleenex box. I keep this box on my yarn table, and it's getting kind of full. And what is in here, you might wonder? Scraps. Scraps that are too small to go in like a scrap bin where you can wind small balls. But these are excellent for tying off skeins of hand spun. I'm sure they have many other uses, but as soon as I have some tiny scraps, I just pop them in here, and this the plastic on top keeps them from being too rowdy and coming out. Yeah. So it looks like a Kleenex box. It's got yarn scraps. I wonder if there are other uses for that as well. Okay, what else is up and coming? The Fiberspace parties is Friday. Yay, I can't wait. Nancy Bush is going to be teaching at the store that day, so maybe we'll get to I think she's the one who does knitted lace of Estonia and folk socks, and it'd be really cool to run into her as well. But I should have a nice little knitting stories to tell you guys after that party. Okay, last thing before I say goodbye. This was a rough week for me and socks, especially this particular pair of socks. These are my hand-spun socks out of Pigeon Roof Studios, the same yarn I showed you earlier. This is the Verdigris colorway, and these are about a year old. Now, they are Polworth, 100%. They are fingering weight 3-ply. This one has held up very well. Now, I make a heel flap all the time. Now I make a heel flap all the time because any afterthought heel I used to do, I just bust right through it after very little wear. This heel is in great shape. Not a bit of wear on it. Okay, that sock is still in good shape. This heel is in fine shape too. There's pilling, you know, it's Polworth. But you might have seen that the toe is looking kind of woebegone. I was walking around in this and I just started feeling cold floor. And yeah, I busted right through that. Someone suggested in the group that I cut off, who was it? Was it Sarah Pomegranate? Well, she was saying I should cut off and reknit it even with a different yarn. It might look good. So I think I will do that. I'm not ready to say goodbye to these. They're a year old. So yeah, maybe I will try to make short socks out of that cable ply Gourmet Stash. This one. See how they wear. Sarah Anderson says, per her sock yarn experiment, that a cable ply is going to have the best wear for socks. So yeah. So not only did my hand spun socks spring a hole, my oldest pair of socks, and a very dear pair of socks to me, also did. This is the Breaking Hearts pattern. I knit this about 3 years ago, I think. One of the first socks that fit me, and one of them, the first sock to introduce me to the bottom of the heel gusset, which I adore. And this pattern is by Turtle Pearl Girl, and I believe I saw on Instagram that she just had a baby. So, and she is in the group, I think. So congratulations if you see this. Socks that Rock, I was just extolling the virtues of Socks that Rock. You know, it was 3 years old, had no signs of wear. The same exact week as my hand spun socks. This happened. So what's this? This is teaching me that the weak spots on my socks are the toes, the bottom of the foot. It's not the heel. This is weird here. I don't know what happened, but definitely the same type of problem in the toe. And I noticed that the other one is beginning to get, oh, sorry about this sunlight. I have to play around with this. This one, okay, right there is also starting to get weak. So maybe what that means to me is that I need to knit the toes of my socks on a size 1. Maybe a denser, oh, hang on. My computer battery is running out. I'm a technical idiot today for some reason. Okay, there we go. So I'm considering knitting the toe of my socks on a size 1 or even a 0. Just adding extra rows and knitting a denser, firmer fabric, hoping that it holds up better. So I am learning from my sock experiences, and these are really the first socks that I have knit that have worn out in this way, and there is a pattern to their wear, so I'm going to take that and make some changes to how I knit my socks in the future. All right, that's it. That is it. Thanks for sticking with me through the technical difficulties today. If you haven't entered the Podversary prize giveaway, please do so. Inspire me, teach me, make me laugh. If you haven't looked at that thread, you should, because you will quite possibly be inspired or laugh or learn something. So yeah, until next week, you all take care. Bye.